Good morning, classmates. Good morning, ma'am. So today our topic is all about el filibusterismo, and we are the group 9. Loremi Gonzalez, James Abilino, and Lovely Solatorio. So el filibusterismo, what is el filibusterismo? It is the second novel written by Dr. Jose Rizal as the sequel to the No Limit Tanghiri. Like No Limit Tanghiri, it was written in Spanish. The range of grade in English. It consists of 38 chapters. Dr. Jose Rizal dedicated El Filibusterismo to the three martyred priests of Cavite, Motoni. The execution of the three priests was significant to the title of the novel El Filibusterismo.
Rizal had to define the word filibuster to his German friend Ferdinand Blumentritt, who did not understand his use of the word in the No Limit Tanghiri. In a letter, Rizal explained, the word filibuster is well known in the Philippines. The masses do not know it yet. I heard it for the first time in 1872, when the tragic execution took place. I still remember the panic that this word created. Our father forbade us to utter it, as well as the word Cavite, Burgos, etc. The Manila newspaper and one day want to make a revolutionary suspect. The Filipinos belong to the educated class, feared to the rich of the world. It does not have the meaning of freebuster. It rather means a dangerous patriot who will soon be hanged or, well, a presumptuous man.
The history of the novel El Filibusterismo. Rizal took 3 years to write his second novel. Rizal began writing El Filibusterismo in October 1887 while was in Calamba. In London, 1888, he revised the plot and some chapters. Rizal continued to work on his manuscript in Paris. He later moved to Brazil, where the cost of living was cheaper and would be less likely to be distressed by social events, so he could focus on finishing the book. Dr. Jose Rizal finally completed the book on March 29, 1891 in Biarritz. On September 18, 1891, the novel was published in Ghent, partially founded by Rizal's friend Valentina Ventura. Rizal immediately sent on his date 2 printed copies to Hong Kong, one for Baza and another for Sicto Lopez. Rizal gratefully donated the original manuscript and an autograph printed copy to Valentina Ventura.
Rizal sent complimentary copies to Blumentritt, Mariano Ponce, Graciano Lopisaina, Antonio Luna, T.H. Padro de Tavera, Juan Luna, and other friends. From the word Blumentritt, he was a teacher, lecturer, and author of articles and books on the Philippines. The original manuscript of El Filibusterismo in the Rizal's own handwriting is now preserved in the Filipino division of the Bureau of Public Libraries in Manila. Acquired by Philippine government from Valentin Ventura for 10,000 pesos. Consists of 279 pages of long sheets paper.
The objectives of Dr. Jose Rizal in writing the novel El Filibusterismo. 1 is to defend Filipino people from foreign accusation of foolishness and lack of knowledge. 2. To show how the Filipino people lived during Spanish colonial period and the cries and woes of his countrymen against abusive officials. 3. To expose the cruelties, grafts, and corruption of the false government and honestly show the wrongdoing of Filipino that lead to further failure. Synopsis of El Filibusterismo. The book narrates the return of the Portuguese of No Limit Tanghiri. Crisostomo Ibarra, under the disguise of wealthy jewelers named Simon, disillusioned by the abuse of the Spanish. Ibarra abandoned his pacifist beliefs in order to return to the Philippines and start a violent revolution.
No Limit Tanghiri's Basilio, now a young man and a skilled medical student, is recruited by Ibarra to aid him in detonating a bomb at a social gathering signaling the beginning of the revolution. However, Basilio warned his friend Isagani, realizing that the woman he loved is in the building. Isagani throws the bomb into the river, averting the explosion and the revolution. Implicated in these matters finds resting place at the home of a priest, Father Florentino, who hears his last confession and assures him that not all hope is lost. The priest, Father Florentino, upon Simon's death, comments that jewels into the sea, marking that the jewels, once used to brave and corrupt people, would one day be hopefully found to be used for a meaningful purpose. The characters. First, Simon, the continuation of the character of Crisostomo Ibarra, distinguished as a wealthy jeweler, bent on the starting of a revolution. Using his wealth, he encouraged the people who experienced abuse to join in his rebellion against the church and the government. Next is Maria Clara, and next is Basilio, Sisa's son, and was adopted by Capitan Tiago, boyfriend of Julie, an aspiring doctor. Next is Julie. Juliana de Dios, the girlfriend of Basilio and the youngest daughter of Cabisang Tales. Next is Isagani. Poet and ang Basilio's best friend, portrayed as an emotional, reactive student leader, Pauleta Gomez's boyfriend before being dumped for fellow student Juanito Pilaes. Next is Juanito Pilaes. Next is Paulita Gomez, the girlfriend of Isagani and the niece of Doña Victorina. The old India who, passing racial identity, passes herself off as a Solares in the end. She and Juanito Pilaes were wed, and she dumped Agisagani, believing that she will have no future if she marries him. Next is Makaraig. Next, Makaraig is Father Camora. And next is Bin Zaid. Bin Zaid Abraham Ibanez in his real name. He is a journalist who thought he was the only one thinking in the Philippines. Next is Don Custodio, a famous journalist who was asked by the student about his decision for the Academia de Castellano. In reality, he was quite an ordinary fellow who married a rich woman in order to be a member of Manila's high society. Next is Placido Penitente, a student of the University of Santo Tomas who was very intelligent and wise, but did not want, if not only by his mother, Plea, to pursue his studies. Next is Cabisang Tales, a former Cabisa de Barangay or barangay head who was known as a Luzon bandit Matanglawin. Next is Gobernador General Picson, Father Fernandez. Father Fernandez, the priest friend of Isagani, he promised Isagani that he and the other priests will give in to the students' demands. Next is Quiroga, a Chinese businessman who dreamed of being a consul of a consulate of China in the Philippines. He keeps Simon's weapon inside his house. Next is Father Florentino, Isagani's godfather and a secular priest, was engaged to be married but chose to be a priest after being pressured by his mother. The story hinting at the ambivalence of his decision as he chose an assignment to a remote place living in a solitude near the sea. Next is Doña Victorina. Next is Sandoval. Father Sibayla or Padre Sibayla. Hernando de la Sibayla, a Filipino friar and now vice rector of the University of Santo Tomas. Next is Father Irene. Next is Father Salvi, Pipay. Other characters, Hermana Pinchang, Tiborcio de Espadana, Don Timoteo Pilaes, Tata Silo, Hermana Bali, Tadio, and Mr. Litz. It is the second novel written by Jose Rizal. It is the sequel of Noli Me Tangere. When we talk about sequel, it is the part 2 of the story. It is written in the Spanish language. We know that if we translate the Noli Me Tangere in English word, it is a social cancer, while the El filibusterismo is the reign of good. When we'll talk of this story or novel, ang Noli Me Tangere gidedicate niya or inalay niya para sa motherland or para sa kanyang bansa or para sa Pilipinas. Well, the El filibusterismo inalay niya sa tatlong pareng Guborza or the three martyr priests na pinapatay na si Father Gomez, Burgos, and Zamora. When it comes to genre, ang novel na ito less on romantic, less on idealism, more on greed or galit, more on revolution, or more on paghihiganti. Ang kwento ng El filibusterismo, unlike sa Noli Me Tangere na more on romantic, medyo pagkamahinhin. Yung kwentong El filibuster panay galit or dito mo umiikot ang emosyon ng isang story. Noli and El Fili compared. Noli Me Tangere, a romantic novel, just like what I'm saying, and El filibusterismo is a political novel. Noli Me Tangere, a book of the heart, while El filibusterismo is a work of the head. Noli Me Tangere, a book of feeling, while El Fili, a book of thought. Noli Me Tangere, it has a freshness, color, humor, and intelligence, while El Fili, it contains bitterness, hatred, pain, violence, and sorrows. And Noli Me Tangere contains of 64 chapters, while the El Fili contains of 38 chapters.
On September 22, 1891, Rizal wrote to Blumentritt saying that he's thinking of writing a third novel where ethics will play principal role. In October 1891, boarded the steamer Melbourne in Marcellus bound for Hong Kong. During the voyage, he wrote the third novel in Tagalog in which he intended for Tagalog readers. In Hong Kong, he continued it but did not finish it because his Tagalog was inadequate for literary purposes. The unfinished third novel has no title. It consists of 44 pages in Rizal's handwriting. The manuscript is still preserved in the Bureau of Public Libraries. The hero of the novel was Kamandagan, a descendant of Lakandula, last king of Tondo. He plotted to regain the lost freedom of his fathers. It is said that Rizal was fortunate not to finish this novel because it would have caused greater scandal and more Spanish vengeance on him. Other unfinished novels. First is Makamisa, a Tagalog novel written in light sarcastic style, incomplete with only 2 chapters, consist of only of 20 pages. Second is Dapitan. Written in ironic Spanish, he wrote it while in Dapitan to depict the town life and customs, consist of 8 pages.
That's all for today. Thank you and God bless.